Hey everyone, I'm going to show you the low maintenance / lazy girl hack. Just 4 colors, 2 brushes, and a fabulous look. So first things first, I'm going to start with a little bit of eyebrows. And we'll go from there. So I came across this information on one of my history groups that I follow. And it was information about America's first supermodel. So this lady was very young when she started modeling, and she was mostly modeling for sculptors. She was actually the basis of many of the sculptures with females in New York. And so that started off her career, and she was in 4 silent films as well, and gone and done posing for some illustrators and photographers. But by the time she was in her 30s, a scandal decided to erupt, and at that time people were very unaccepting of those scandals, unlike today where it's just another juicy story for people to read about. This actually destroyed her career. So her landlord, I believe it was, decided that he was madly in love with her. And so while he was in love with her, he was also married, and he had a wife at home. He killed his wife so that he could marry this girl, but she had no interest in marrying him. And he was actually tried and convicted and sentenced to the electric chair, but he hung himself in his cell before they could play out the execution. And that was what stemmed the breakdown of her career, as well as apparently she wasn't much of an actor. They actually had to get acting doubles for her for some of her films. And she was also one of the first women to be nude on screen for anything that wasn't a pornographic video. So that right there tells me how much of a detrimental lifestyle it is when you go into showbiz, shall we say. I mean, we can see that even now with especially the impact that world has on child stars. And I mean, Audrey, that was her name, she was a teenager when she started posing for sculptures, and that just, it makes me wonder, why did her mother allow that? Was it literally just her greed? She wanted money? Or what possessed her to allow her child to start? there are some accounts that say she was modeling for sculptors by the time she was 14. And she was modeling naked at 14. Which, it just makes me sad. Like, I can't imagine doing that at that age. And, like, no wonder she had issues. She was barely in her 30s and she decided to try and commit suicide by mercury poisoning. It's amazing just how sad some of these things are. Okay, so as you've seen, I've done my eyebrows. I will take the spoolie to them in a moment after I shape them a little bit better with my highlight coming up. But I'm going to color correct real quick. I'm using Tropicana here. I use many, many, many other colors. This is just one of my nice summer colors that I like. I used it all last summer, actually in lieu of Frenchie, which I still like Frenchie and Tropicana, but Tropicana does have a nicer tint for my skin. It just has that orange that brings out a little extra to the look. So anyways, Audrey decided to try and commit suicide, but she failed. And by the time she was 40, her mom petitioned a judge to take her and admit her to an insane asylum. Now, unfortunately, for Audrey, as soon as she got into the insane asylum, no one came to see her. She spent many, many years there. She was there for 65 years. She passed at the ripe old age of 104, and she actually passed not that long ago. It was in the 1990s, I believe it said, that she passed away. So, I mean, she lived a very, very long life, but I can just imagine how sad and lonely she would be. She would tell the staff at the asylum about her life. And of course they thought that this was all the ravings of a mad woman. But in fact, a lot of the stories that she told were true. Like, she told them that she was the base work for much of the statues, like many important places. One of the libraries in New York, there are a lot of popular art pieces, especially in New York, because that's where she was based out of. There's that hair. That she was the basis for, and they kind of smiled and let her tell her stories and thought they were fun and interesting, but they didn't really believe them. I wonder what they would have thought if they actually believed those stories, or if they ever found out that her stories were true. But thankfully, she had the staff at the facility who at least paid her attention. They listened to the stories she had to tell, and obviously gave her a little bit more to live for. Without visitors, I personally wouldn't know what to do with myself, especially as, I can't imagine an insane asylum would have a whole lot of interesting things to do, especially back in the 1900s. Such as she was in there. I know now, like, they portray on TV that they have games and stuff, and I'm sure they do have things to help keep them occupied. But what did she go through in that day and age in an insane asylum? What did she have done to her? What did she live through that we will never ever know? And just what kind of life did she really lead? She was a child when she became famous. She was her career was ripped apart by scandal by the time she was my age. By the time she was my age, she had tried to commit suicide. I just, it's such an interesting story to learn, but it just makes me so sad that that's how it worked for her. All right, so now I've got my mane all evened out and ready to go, so I'm going to put a little bronzer on. And just to, live your life knowing that you were an instrumental part in a lot of artwork. Like, she was, for a specific showing, she had been 3/4 of the sculptures were based on her. So, I mean, to know that you were so popular and so beloved for just that short time, and then to have that all ripped away. Before she was admitted, she and her mother, after her career took a dive, she and her mother sold utensils, serving utensils and like silverware, door to door, just to make ends meet and survive. Like, how do you go from being so popular and so desired to having nothing? And then to have these this guy all of a sudden kill someone for you when you weren't even interested in the first place. Like, it's just insanity. Which, I mean, no wonder she felt the need to commit suicide. Her whole life, the whole life she had worked so hard to build, she just gone in an instant. And to me, that shows how being a celebrity is not all it's cracked up to be. And I mean, we sit here and we judge them for all these things, and to have your life on display like that would be so hard. All right, so a little bit of plum on the cheeks. So yeah, that is the recent tidbit I learned this week about America's first supermodel. And it is quite a sad story, like many others. They give the appearance of a happy and put together life, but in reality, it can be quite chaotic and lonely. All right, so now I have done my lip color, my bronzer. Obviously, the bronzer is kind of acting as a contour here, but it's adding that summery glow. I'm going to quickly show you how I'm going to do a fast eye, and then we're done. So I know I've taken a little bit of time from you talking as I go, but I have to say we're just barely at the 15-minute mark and we're not doing too bad. Obviously, if I'm not talking, I do this a lot faster. So you see, Tropicana has a very nice neutral look on me, especially because it is a little orangier and what have you. And then I have a little bit of plum to punch up that color, just to add dimension. Right there, right in the corner, a little bit in the crease. And then I'm going to use my bronzer as a liner, a little bit of mascara, and I can be out the door. So really this, if I'm not talking or trying to do it for a video, I can do this routine in about 5 to 7 minutes depending on the day. So last 2 touches here. I'm going to take just the slightest line. I don't want, obviously I'm looking for a little more of a natural look. I'm not looking for dramatic at all. I just want a little definition to everything. All right. Don't forget to give a quick spoolie to those eyebrows. Again, it's going to, as you can see, make them a little less intense. And it will also put the hairs where you want them to be, which is always nice. All right. And then I'm going to take my newest favorite, I just had to get a new one, but my favorite mascara here. It is the Rimmel London Lash Accelerator. This one is the endless one, so it has some fibers to it as well. So this is a little newer compared to the one I normally use, but I want to try it because having a little longer lash is not a bad thing. And again, because I'm going for natural here, I'm just taking a little bit and just trying to accentuate my lashes just enough to be visible. I'm not looking for overly dramatic or a lot of product on them. Save that for the glam looks. And there you have it. This right here is the Lazy Girl Hack with Saint. 4 colors, main highlight, bronzer, and 2 lip and cheeks for a whole face that looks fabulous. All right, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time with maybe some more new facts about someone else. Who knows? I love history, so I'm hoping to start sharing some of the things I learned because I love talking about what I learned. And with this whole COVID thing, I don't get to talk to as many people about these things. So bear with me. I will probably have some new facts in the future for you, but for now, this is it. This is all. And I am ready for a day of whatever, a day at the beach, a day at the park, whatever it may be. a quick, easy routine to just keep me glowing. Have a great one, everyone. Bye now.